I'm really glad that you've chosen to join us today. One of the things that I've been involved with for many years is the production and the growing of plants. I find this to be particularly interesting, and I have certainly come to appreciate many different parts about growing plants that I didn't know before. And one of them is I like to talk to you about soil. And in my world, we have a lot of different seeds. We grow a lot of different flower seeds and vegetable seeds, and each one of these seeds are unique. But one of the things that each one of these seeds need is really good soil. And I didn't appreciate how important soil was when I first got started in the propagation business. We oftentimes that would buy baled material, baled soil, and we would mix it into our machines and put it into our flats and run it through our seeding equipment. Now, that is interesting because that'll affect the germination of the seeds and the soil that you grow in. So over the years, we have been able to get a company that does a custom blend for us. In our soil that we're using, a combination of wood fiber, peat, and we use a product called Perlite, mix in a time-release fertilizer, and they will adjust it so our soils do not have any buffering agent in that. And by that I mean is that many of the soils that are produced are designed to go into regions of the world that are slightly acidic water. So they'll put liming components in there so that the plant has a very good pH to germinate and grow in. The pH is very useful in root development, plant development, but more importantly, it helps and assists and prevents the locking up of minerals. So with our waters here in British Columbia and where I am are slightly alkaline, we want to have a slightly acidic type soil so that the water naturally will be neutralized when it goes into our growing trays. So we bring in literally tons and tons of this really high quality soil. From there it will be put into, in this case, our propagation trays filled so that it's not too compact, but it is still loose enough for the little seed radicle to move into it. And from there, it goes through seeding equipment that we have, the seeder, and most times there's a layer of vermiculite, similar to perlite, but vermiculite that is placed on top. The interesting thing about vermiculite is that it is quite light and able to hold a good amount of moisture, and it has a very nice moisture to air ratio. So when the little seed pushes down the radical and then the first true leaf or the first leaf starts, the cotyledons start to move up, it doesn't have a lot of heavy soil to push out of the way for it to emerge. So one of the things that I have discovered over the years is that if you have good soil, has high nutrition in it, good pH range to it, and it has the capacity to hold water and air, because interesting enough is that the roots actually need a fair bit of oxygen. It is important that they have air-water ratio in the growing medium. So you want all those three components in it, and you bring these wonderful seeds in contact with moisture and with the soil, amazing things happen. I am still intrigued that little seeds, oftentimes they look like a poor grade of sand, and we put them into these trays, and within a few days they emerge, and these beautiful little plants start to pop their heads up, and within the course of a few weeks time they become transplantable. They're put into a larger container, and within a month or two they will produce an amazing blooms that are actually very vivid in color, remarkably tough plants to take the outside condition. One of the things that for me I have come to appreciate from the scripture, because in there I see the reference about soil, and as I look at the soil I see that there's a story in the Bible about the sower that's going out to sow seeds. It talks about this field, there's stones on there, there's a pathway, and there's good soil. What I would like to say is that at Bible times, and even today, but not as much today, Bible times seeds were very valuable. If you do not have seeds as a farmer, farmer, you didn't have catalog to order it up on. You needed to save seeds from the previous year. So this was a valuable commodity that they were sowing out. So they wanted to make sure that they got into good ground. And there is in the story where you see some of the seeds landing on the pathway and thorny bushes, etc., birds coming in, all these hazards that the seed will experience before it has a chance to germinate. And then there is times where it does germinate, and because it hasn't been able to root in deep enough, it becomes subject to drought, and of course in the story some of them perish from that. So I am intrigued by this story, and I have come to appreciate the miracle that happens with seeds. I particularly, even to this day, and I've germinated millions of seeds, there is truly a miracle that happens on it. I'd like to oftentimes take credit for what happens. People come to me and say, hey, you're a grower. What do you do to make these plants grow and do this and do that? And in my arrogance, I will say, yes, I'm a grower and I do this and I do that. But when I stop to think about it, it truly is, I just stir a little bit of soil and water into these things. The good Lord initiates a miracle. And yes, so you see the water going through the protein shell of the seed, and you understand how that works. And then there's a little spark of life that initiates itself. And I think that for me, I have learned something from the master gardener. One is that get your seeds into good soil. And I have learned that over the years. Get good soil. Number two, get moisture onto that. So again, when the farmer went out, he did not seed this in the August of the year. He seeded it in the springtime of the year where there was moisture and rains coming in. I guess the third thing is that you have to protect it. In my world, there is things such as viruses, bacteria, and so again, you want to protect those plants, make sure that they are in a good environment. As a grower, I have to step back and say the master grower initiates this life cycle with his genius and brilliance, put together the genetics that produce these beautiful flowers, these tasty fruit, these tasty vegetables, made all of this nutrition that these plants and fruit that they produce available for my body to be utilized. I think as you look around and see truly these little miracles that take place, they are sometimes referred to as the fingerprints and the footprints of God. And I think that's actually said very well. We get to see the fingerprints of God in my greenhouse, and I trust that you will see the fingerprints of God in your life.
To be aware of new videos like this one, be sure to subscribe to the Preparing for the Time of Trouble channel. For more free videos and downloadable audio podcasts, as well as handouts, go to www.preparingforthetimeoftrouble.com. Topic categories include recordings of live seminar presentations, country living, sustainable gardening, homestead remedies, how to be self-sufficient when the grid goes down, wild edible and medicinal plants, hydrotherapy, and end-time Bible prophecies. To take advantage of these free resources, go to preparingforthetimeoftrouble.com.